Hi there, Mr. Holcomb here with another episode of The Math Behind the Modules. This is Lesson 18, Applications of the Pythagorean Theorem. Classwork Exercise 1. The area of the right triangle shown below is 26.46 square inches. What is the perimeter of the right triangle? Round your answer to the tenths place. Okay. We only are given the length of one leg. We'll call that A. We don't know what B is, and we don't know what C is, but we know the area is the area is 26.46 inches squared. Okay, so always start a problem with an equation that deals with what we are given. So it's area, and we know the area of a triangle equals 1/2 base times height, or base times height divided by 2, either way you want to write it. We'll let B be our base. We don't know what that is. A would be our height, so our height is 6.3. We know the area, so we substitute in our givens. So area is 26.46 equals our base, which we don't know, times our height, which is 6.3, divided by 2. And then we just solve for our only unknown, which is our base. So we multiply both sides by 2. And these cancel, and I get 6.3b equals 6 times 2 is 12, carry the 1. 2 times 4 is 8, plus 1 is 9. 6 times 2 is 12, carry the 1. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. And then, to get b by itself, I divide both sides by 6.3. These cancel, and I get b equals, and I go to my calculator. Whoops, I didn't have it open. Let me just quickly do that. Okay, and we're going to take 52.92 divided by 6.3, and then we get 8.4. So now I know that the B is 8.4. Okay, so now we know the base, and we know the height, and those are our two legs of a right triangle, so we can use the Pythagorean theorem to find C. So now that I've found one component, we can find the other. So I can now use the Pythagorean theorem that says a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And my a is 6.3 squared plus my b, which was 8.4 squared, equals c squared. Okay, and then 6.3 squared is 39.69 plus 8.4 squared is 70.56. And that equals c squared. So 9 and 6 is 15, carry the 1. 6 and 5 is 11, and 1 is 12, carry the 1. 9 plus 0 is 9, plus 1 is 10. 7 plus 3 is 10, plus 1 is 11. So I have 110.25 equals c squared. So I take the square root of 110.25 and take the square root of c squared, and that will give me c. And if I take the square root of 110.25, I get 33.32. Okay, now these are rounded to the tenths, so let's just say 33.3. Okay, Okay, I just noticed that was way too big, and I have one too many ones there. I must have hit a 1 multiple times there, so it was 110.25 square root, and that's 10.5. That's better. Okay, 10.5. Okay, so we have 6.3, 8.4, and 10.5. Now we have to go back. What is the question asking us to find? Right, what is the perimeter round to the nearest tenth? Well, perimeter is distance around. So it is perimeter equals A plus B plus C. So the perimeter equals 6.3 plus B, which is 8.4, plus C, which we found to be 10.5. So the perimeter rounded to the 10th is 5 plus 4 is 9, plus 3 is 12, carry the 1, 1, 9, 15, carry the 1, and that is 25.2 inches is our perimeter. Okay, so that was an interesting question. We're given a right triangle and only the length of one side. And we were given the area of that triangle. From that, we were able to find the other side. And then knowing two legs, we then used the Pythagorean Theorem to find the hypotenuse. And so therefore, we were able to find all three sides, just given one side and the area. Number 2. The diagram below is a representation of a soccer goal. Determine the length of the bar C. So we want to know the length of, it's always good to keep your focus on what the question's asking. That is what we want to find. How long is C? Determine the length of the bar C that would be needed to provide structure to the goal around your answer to the 10th place. So what we are looking at is a right triangle. So we are going to be focusing on the right triangle that consists of this side, that side, and that. So we're looking at that right triangle. Okay. So what we need to be careful with here is, it is a right triangle. I moved it out so you can see. This is a leg, and this is a leg. Be careful. C is not the hypotenuse here. So if I say the Pythagorean theorem is a squared plus b squared equals c squared, it is not this C. This is my C. All right? No, I'm sorry. It is that C. What am I saying? It's just a weird shaped diagram. That is my C. Disregard. It's opposite the right angle. That is my hypotenuse. Just from the angle that we're looking at this side looks longer than this side, but it's not. All right, so let's make, this could be A, or this could be B, or this could be A and this could be B, but that doesn't matter. So I'm going to put 8 squared plus 3 squared equals C squared. 64 plus 9 equals C squared. 73 equals C squared. The square root of 73 equals the square root of C squared. The square root of 73 equals C. Round to the nearest tenth. Square root 73. Enter. 8.54. This 4 is the 100th place. It does not make the 5 round up. 8.5 would be truncated at 8.5. So 8.5 equals C. So the answer is 8.5. And whenever you're answering a question, you should always write the unit of measurement. So let me just write that in there. So the answer is 8.5 feet. Okay, so part B says, how much netting in square feet is needed to cover the entire goal? So keep in mind that the netting would be here on that side. It would be here on this side, obviously. And it would be also the backstop here. This is all the netting. So we have three different shapes there. All right, so we have this right triangle. We have this right triangle over here, which is equivalent. And then we have a rectangle in the back. So to find the total area, I would say area total equals 2 areas of the triangle. Let me try to write that neatly. So we need the 2 triangles areas plus the area of the rectangle. Okay, so we need this area, and the area of the big rectangle. So the area of a right triangle, so the area total is going to equal area sub t equals, I just like to use subscripts to name stuff. So now I'm just going to substitute in my formula. Be very methodical with your answering. Write a formula, substitute the given, simplify, solve. I say that over and over and over. The formula of a triangle is, so there are 2 of them, and it's base times height divided by 2 plus the area of a rectangle, which is length times width, or base times height, whichever you're comfortable with. Doesn't matter. All right, so then I substitute in my givens. So my triangle is a base of 8 and a height of 3, or a base of 3 and a height of 8. It doesn't matter which way you look at it. So the area total is going to be 2 times, then I substitute my givens, a base of 3 and a height of 8 divided by 2 plus the length and width of the back, which is a rectangle. And our C is the height of the rectangle. It's tilted, so it's 8.5 by 10. So the length is 10 times 8.5. Let me use a parentheses there. 10 times 8.5. So there's my formula. So the area total is going to equal, well, these 2's will cancel, and 8 times 3 is 24. Plus 10 times 8.5 is 85. So the total area is going to be 9, 4 plus 5, and 8 plus 2 is 10, 109 square feet. Okay. Next problem, number 3. The typical ratio of length to width that is used to produce televisions is 4:3. Okay, so a TV with length of 20 inches and a width of 15 inches, for example, has sides in a 4:3 ratio, as does any TV with lengths 4x inches and width 3x inches for any number x. What is the advertised size of a TV with length 20 and a width of 15? So we're going to let C be the length of the diagonal. Okay, and I will draw that in. What color do I want? Diagonal, let's just go with red. So there's our diagonal. That's C. Okay, what is the advertised size of a TV with length 20 inches and a width of 15 inches? So what we would do here is let A squared plus B squared equals C squared. a squared is 20. B squared, b is 15, so it's 15 squared equals c squared. 20 squared is 400, plus 15 squared is 225, equals c squared. 400 plus 225 is 625, equals c squared. So I take the square root of 625, and I take the square root of c squared, and I get c equals 25. The square root of 625 is 25. So since the TV has a diagonal length of 25 inches, then it is a 25-inch TV. So the advertised size of the TV would be a 25-inch TV. Okay, because they advertise as diagonals. Okay, part B says, a 42-inch TV was just given to your family. What are the lengths and widths of the measurement of the TV? Okay, so now what they're saying is, I'm going to erase this C, and that 15 and that 20. Let me change to green this time. So now we know the 42-inch TV is the diagonal. So this is 42. This is C, 42. What I don't know is A and B, but I know they're in a ratio of 4 to 3. So my formula for the Pythagorean theorem, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. A is in a ratio of 4 to 3, and we don't know it, so that'd be 4x squared plus 3x squared equals 42 squared. Okay, now when we put these in parentheses, don't forget to distribute your squaring. So 4 squared is 16, x squared is x squared, plus 3 squared is 9, times x squared, which is x squared, equals 42 squared, which is 1764. So I combine like terms, which is 25x squared equals 1764. Divide by 25. 25's cancel, and I get x squared equals, I'm going to divide this by 25, and I get 70.56. Okay, take the square root of x squared, I take the square root of 70.56, and I get x equals, so if I do square root of my answer, there's a quick shortcut if you didn't know that, is 8.4. So x equals 8.4. So if x is 8.4, remember that A is 4x and B is 3x. So that would be a TV that would be 4 times 8.4 by 3 times 8.4 is going to be the length and width of that TV. So 4 times 4 is 16, 8 times 4 is 32, and 1 is 33.6 by 4 times 3 is 12, 24, and 1 is 25. So it'd be a 33.6 by 25.2 inch TV. So it's 33.6 by 25.2 inches. Part C says, check that the dimensions you got in Part B are correct using the Pythagorean theorem. So I go back, and I have 33.6 by 25.2. So that'd be 33.6 squared plus 25.2 squared equals, and it's got to equal 42 squared. Okay, so we're just substituting it in to check. So 33.6 squared is 1,128.96 plus 25.2 squared is 635.04. And we want to check to see if that equals 42 squared, which was 1,764. So 6 and 4 is 0. 9 and 0. 6 and 4 is 10, carry the 1. 9 and 0 is 9 plus 1 is 0, carry the 1. 8 and 5 is 13 plus 1 is 14, carry the 1. 2 plus 3 is 5 plus 1 is 6. 1 plus 6 is 7, and then the 1 plus nothing there is 1. And 1,764 equals 1,764, so therefore it does check. D says the table that your TV currently rests on is 30 inches in length. Will the new TV fit on the table? Explain. Okay, the dimension for the length of the TV is 33.6 inches. It will not fit on a table that is 30 inches in length. There, up there is better. Number 4, determine the distance between the following pairs of points. Round your answer to the nearest tenths place. Use graph paper if necessary. Okay, so this is a diagonal on a piece of paper. So the difference in my x is 7 minus -3, which is 10. The differences in my y's is 4 minus -2, which is 6. So if I can picture a Pythagorean theorem now, I will do this with a graph paper after, but all you have to do, I don't know why that opened, all you have to do is find out how far away your x's are, and that's the length of your horizontal of your right triangle. How far away your y's are is your vertical distance, and that's your a and your b. So this is a, and this is b. So then you use the Pythagorean theorem and say a squared plus b squared equals c squared. 10 squared plus 6 squared equals c squared. 100 plus 36 equals c squared. 136 equals c squared. So the square root of 136 equals the square root of c squared. And if I take the square root of 136, it's going to be 11.66, approximately. So C is approximately 11.66 units. Round your answer to the nearest tenth place. Okay, always read the question when you're done. Make sure you're answering the questions. 0.66 rounds to 11.7. Okay, part B says to do that again. So my A is the distance from -5 to 3. So it'd be 3 minus -5, or 3 plus 5, which is 8. That's my A. And my B is 2 and 6. So 6 minus 2, the distance from 6 and 2 is 4. That's my B. So then I solve. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. 8 squared plus 4 squared equals c squared. 64 plus 16 equals c squared. 80 equals c squared. Square root of 80 equals c squared, square root. So c equals the square root of 80. The square root of 80 is just shy of 9, because the square root of 81 is 9. So it's 8.94, rounded to the 10th is 8.9. And since it's an approximation, I will be representing that as approximate. So C is approximately 8.9 units. Okay. Part C, challenge. X sub 1, y sub 1, and x sub 2, y sub 2. Explain your answer. Well, A equals x sub 2 minus x sub 1, right? And B equals y sub 2 minus y sub 1. That's all we're given. I can't do this problem without knowing what those values are. So if I were to do this, I would say, well, the Pythagorean theorem says a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So I take a, which is x sub 2 minus x sub 1, and square it. And add b squared, which is y sub 2 minus y sub 1, and square it. And that's going to equal my c squared. Okay, and then to get c, I have to take the square root of both sides. So if I take the square root of all this, which is x sub 2 minus x sub 1 squared, plus y sub 2 minus y sub 1 squared, that's going to equal the square root of c squared. So x sub 2 minus x sub 1 squared plus y sub 2 minus y sub 1 squared equals c. Okay? And this is the distance formula. What? Are you kidding me? All right, so we have just derived, using the Pythagorean theorem, the distance formula. How cool is that? You impressed yet? Okay, number 5. What length of ladder is needed to reach the height 7 feet along a wall when the base of the ladder is 4 feet from the wall? Round your answer to the 10th place. So what this question is asking for is C, the length of the ladder. So the Pythagorean theorem says a squared plus b squared equals c squared. A, my base, is 4 squared. B, my height, is 7 squared, equals the length of the ladder squared. 16 plus 49 equals c squared. 49 plus 16 is 65, and that's equal to c squared. I take the square root of 65, and I get c squared square root. And therefore c, and I'm going to do an approximation because I know it's going to round. The square root of 64 is 8, so this is a little bit more than 8. You need to start recognizing approximations. Square root of 65 should be 8.06. Round your answer to the 10th place, 8.1 feet. Okay. That is the end of lesson 18. Go do your problem set.